Hi everybody, welcome back to Zoey and Sassafras, Monsters and Mold. We're going to be reading chapter 3, 4, and possibly 5, if we still have time. This chapter is chapter 3, Moldy Fur. The monster turned back, but kept his eyes on the ground. It's disgusting, I know. Oh, sorry, it's not that bad really, I said. I was surprised, that's all. I've never seen mold on fur before. But then again, I've never seen monster fur. Is this something that happens to lots of monsters? No, just to me, he sighed sadly. It's so embarrassing. We monsters take great care with our appearance, but no matter how often I bathe, this awful mold still grows. Always grows. It starts on my back and spreads until I'm covered with it. I'm so sorry. I felt bad for the poor monster. What a terrible problem to have. Can you help me? There must be some way to stop the mold from growing on my fur. I'd be happy to help. I could... I pressed a finger to my lips and thought, molds can be dangerous. I'd need to think of a solution where I didn't touch the mold, or I'd have to wait until my mom was home. Sassafras meowed. Then he reached a paw up and bopped me on the head. Hey, what's that for? I frowned at him. But then I realized Sassafras was reminding me to use my thinking goggles. It sounds silly, but it always works. Wearing my lucky pair of goggles on my head always gives me fantastic ideas. Just a minute, Mr. Monster. I'll be right back. I've got to grab something from our house. The monster humphed. My name is Gorp, not Mr. Monster. Oh, sorry, Gorp. 1 second. As soon as I put my thinking goggles on, I thought of more questions to ask. Phew! I could probably figure out this whole problem before my mom got home. I grabbed a pen and my science journal and ran outside. I adjusted my thinking goggles and opened my science journal. It flipped to the page with the photo of Sassafras riding Marshmallow the dragon. I slowly ran my fingers over the photo. The shimmering light from Marshmallow's scales jumped right out of the page. It made the magical photo seem alive. Gorp cleared his throat. I quickly found a new page in my journal and wrote my problem at the top. Problem: Gorp's fur is molding. So, Gorp, how often do you take a bath, and where? I bathed every day in the stream. And then what? You dry off and go home to your monster house? Well, sort of. I shake my fur off, and then I go to sleep in my warm cave up in the mountains. I wrote down notes. Bath in stream, damp fur, sleeps in warm cave. Aha, that was it. I circled the words damp and warm in my notes. This was actually just like my bread experiments. Gorp, I solved your problem. Chapter 4, an easy fix. Mold grows quickly when things are damp and warm, I exclaimed to Mort. When you get back to your cave, your fur must still be a little damp. And then when you go to sleep in your warm cave, it's the perfect way to grow mold. He looked worried. You mean the problem is my warm cave? I don't want to sleep outside in the cold. I patted his arm. I think if we take care of the damp fur, you'll be fine. You'll be fine sleeping in your warm cave. You can borrow one of our towels. Use it to get your fur completely dry. And just to be extra safe, take your bath earlier in the day so your fur is super dry by the time you get to your warm cave. That should stop the mold from growing. I wrote in my journal, solution. 1. Gorp will take bath early in day. 2. Gorp will use towel to get very dry. I touched the page I was writing on. I kind of wanted to add a photo of Gorp to my journal entry. My mom had given me an instant film camera, and I was allowed to take one photo of each magical creature I held. But I was nervous to ask him since we'd just met. Anyway, his problem has been so easy to solve. I closed my science journal. "I'll be right back," I announced. I ran inside and returned with a towel for Gorp. He picked it up between 2 fingers and peered at it. Oh, right, a monster wouldn't actually know what a towel was. "Here, you use it like this," I said as I pretended to dry myself. Gorp watched closely and then smiled and took the towel. "Thank you for your help, small human. I am very excited to be able to go to the monster ball." "No problem, and my name is Zoey, and this is Sassafras. We hope you have fun at the dance." Well, that was easy. I waved goodbye and Gorp disappeared into the forest. As I returned back to the house, I heard my mom's car coming up the driveway, so Sassafras and I hurried to meet her. "Mom, I solved the problem all by myself. There was a monster, and Sassafras loved him, but the monster was covered in mold. We were super careful not to touch him, since I know some molds are dangerous. Anyway, I figured out his fur was molding because he was going to bed in his warm cave with wet fur. It's just like my bread experiments. See, all he needs to do is bathe earlier, use the towel to completely dry his fur, and by the time he goes to bed, he should be very dry and not have any more mold problems. Oh, and I gave him one of our towels to use." "I hope that's okay." "Phew, that sounds like quite an afternoon adventure," Mom said. She put her arm around me, and we walked into the house. "I wonder why Sassafras loved him so much." "Oh, you should have seen it, Mom. Sassafras was desperate to love him. He even tried to jump into Gorp's arms. Gorp was terrified. I don't think monsters see many cats." Mom nodded thoughtfully. "No, I don't imagine they do. Poor Gorp. Monsters take such pride in being clean. Having moldy fur must be hard on him." "Yes, he seemed really worried about what the other monsters thought of him. He said he'd always stayed home from the monster ball because of it." "Oh, that's a shame. I've heard such wonderful stories about the monster ball. It sounds like so much fun. Well, I hope he'll be brave enough to go this year. It sounds like you did some good work." I just knew I'd solved Gorp's problem, especially after talking to my mom. I was so sure that I flipped my science journal to a new entry and began to daydream about what sort of magical animal we'd meet next. That's the end for today, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.